You're listening to SM Media, the number one place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Euro Football Show right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike, delighted to be your host as always. We are here for day 4 of our Euro 2020 review. 3 big games today took place: Scotland 0, Czech Republic 2, Poland 1, Slovakia 2, and Spain 0, Sweden 0. We'll get into the panel. Joined as always by Shankers. Shankers, how are we?
Aye, good, Scott. As I said, a wee bit deflated after the result of the day, but not much you can do now, no point in dwelling on it. Onwards and upwards, hopefully.
Aye. Max Halliday's with us as well. Max, it's a pleasure to welcome you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
No bother, man. It's great to be here. I wish it could be in a bit better circumstances, though, but
definitely. We'll get into that in a second. We're joined by a special guest as well, Ryan Clifford. Ryan, it's a pleasure to welcome you on. Thanks for coming on.
No, it's my pleasure, mate. Thanks a lot. As Max says there, just wish it was on a victory for Scotland.
Right, let's just get through it as quick as we can here. Scotland 0, Czech Republic 2, a double from Patrik Schick at Hampden. I think we're all sitting deflated. We'd went into this game, as I say, I've said all morning, I don't think I've ever experienced a Scotland game that's had much build up and as much hope. Just the whole country was just lifted, and as quick as they were lifted, they were deflated. Shankers, let's get into it. We've had a debate in our group chat all day about this team selection. The way Steve Clarke set up, what was your first impressions of it?
Apart from obviously, I don't think a lot of folk knew during the situation, so I was just a wee bit surprised. Obviously, he wasn't playing through injury or whatever. Apart from that, I wasn't really surprised much of the lineup. Maybe thought Armstrong would have played where Christie played further forward and McGregor would have played in the middle. But I didn't really argue too much with the lineup. It was roughly what I thought. There's obviously a huge debate on social media about Gilmour and Patterson, etc. Why did they not feature at some point? Why did they not start? So that's a huge debate. Ryan Fraser possibly could have started. Maybe when he played before, he was quite good at when the ball was up to Dykes and he was flicking it on. Fraser was good at getting second balls and stuff. So it's always going to be a debate. It's easy to debate when you lose the game. I think that's the easiest thing. When you lose the game, you can say, why do you not do this? Why do you not do that? Scotland had plenty of chances in the game. I think not to score a goal was pretty harsh, but in the big games, when you get chances, you need to finish them, and if no, you're going to get punished, and that's what happened.
Max, obviously we've touched on there about the team selection. What was before the first Czech Republic goal, what was your thoughts on how Scotland performed?
I think they were the better team for the majority of the first half, and then they kind of just came into a little bit with maybe about 15 minutes to go before half time. They got a couple of corners in quick succession. You just felt that maybe we were retreating a bit too much. And then I think the goal kind of at that point was maybe coming. They were probably on top at that point, and when we were on top, we weren't able to get a goal, unfortunately, and they did. So they were far more clinical than us in the final third. Ryan,
what's your thought? What was your thoughts on the first half? Obviously, Scotland gave me a 1-0 trail at half time. It was a good header from Patrik Schick, but I think more could have been done with the cross. What was your thoughts of the first half performance?
I kind of agree with the guys, what they're saying. Kind of a better team, but the goal made it a bit deflated, as I said at the start. And I think now, because obviously I've stopped playing football now due to injury, and I'm watching games more now. And for me, the defensive side was very poor. You guys probably played football yourselves, and you know the first thing you do is stop the cross, and that's what didn't do. Didn't stop the cross, and to be fair, that guy's a quality player, and that's what I said. Mallman as well. I think he's worth £40 million, whatever it was years ago. You can't get a guy that space in the area of time, and to be fair, it's a top quality finish. But it's just echoing what the guy says. We started off well, and as they get on, we just kind of fade near the end. But I wouldn't be too disappointed with the first half. Just to go gives a bit of a hang me bumming into the second half.
Shankers, at half time, maybe were you under the impression that a change was going to be made, and if so, what changes would you have made?
I was surprised Adams never started, to be honest. I think when he came on, you kind of seen a kind of a lift almost. He was taking things in, he was linking it up, he looked very physical. I think that made a difference straight away, and I think the rest of the team got a lift for that. I think maybe left it a wee bit late to gamble with putting Forrest on the right and taking O'Donnell off for Forrest to get up the pitch more. I think there's 20 minutes to go and you're 2-0 down. I think he's kind of left it a wee bit late with that one. But as the changes were getting made, you kind of seen Scotland progressively getting better. A lot of the ball crosses in the box. But as we said before, too many chances not to score a goal. Plenty of chances. The keeper had a great save. The one where he's kind of dives back and tipped it away. But at that stage, a competition in the Euros or a World Cup, you're going to get punished if you don't put your chances away, and that's what happened. That's in Czech Republic, where maybe kind of going into under the radar a wee bit because of all the hype, Scotland first tournament and stuff like that for a while. The game at Hampden, maybe Scotland could have been slight favourites going into it just because of the home advantage and stuff like that. So I think it kind of played into Czech Republic's hands. And listen, we can't take anything away from them. Two great finishes, and I'm not saying they deserved the win, but if, as I said before, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but if you don't put chances away, you're not going to do anything in the competition.
One player who I want to touch on quickly is Stephen O'Donnell, and it's tough because we all knew Stephen O'Donnell was going to play, but Max, do we think Stephen O'Donnell early on in the game kind of was nervous or something? Because it looked to me as if he was a rabbit in the headlights, just making kind of error after error. Obviously, we know it's a massive occasion, but the one with Christie sticks out is it just that kind of get a player who just maybe took the game, was a bit kind of nervous during the game. What was your thoughts on Stephen O'Donnell?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did look nervous. You'd almost feel yourself sort of nervous through him, like watching him on the pitch. I also think that there's a bit of an imbalance there when he plays because he's a good, solid defender, but he's not got much going forward. And there's a real when you've got Robertson on the other side driving forward in the way that he does. I think he would really ideally have somebody on that right hand side that's able to do that as well. So we're not just aiming the attacks on one side, and we're able to cause a bit more problems to the opposition defence. And that's why I think I would have probably preferred to see. I would understand maybe starting O'Donnell, but I think when we're going one behind at half time, I think I would have preferred to see Forrest coming on maybe at half time, certainly a lot sooner than he did, just to give us more of an attacking threat and get up the pitch a bit more. But I did feel sorry for O'Donnell because he clearly was struggling out there.
Yeah.
And again, it might have been more beneficial for him himself if he was taken away from it earlier on.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I mean, I think we all knew he was going to play, but you could tell maybe 10 minutes in that there was something off about his performance. I think as well, maybe at half time. I know Adams, you said earlier on as well, Shankers a bit. If you bring on Patterson, is it like for like? Is it like for like though because of Patterson's attacking ability? You've got Forrest, you've got Fraser, you've got Patterson. I think they could all probably have come on at half time and added that width, because I think you were a man down that right hand side because of the way kind of O'Donnell was cutting in every time. I thought a bit more width would have perhaps made a difference in that right hand side after half time.
I think as a risk to go and make 3 changes at half time as well though. Obviously you kind of take injuries or fatigue later into it. I mean, I was talking to one of the boys on the way home for training there. John McGinn looked dead in his feet with 20 minutes to go, and
I think you're wasting the waste.
And he's normally probably the driving force and probably one of the fittest boys in the team, and he's looking dead in his feet. Whether he's kind of went for it and blew his tank too early or whatever, but my only thing about Patterson was I don't see why in like 60 minutes take off O'Donnell, put Patterson on. Like if you're 2-0 down, it's too similar. I agree with Max. If you're taking them off at Forrest or Fraser or somebody on that's going to give you an attacking threat in there, I think I'm not saying Patterson and O'Donnell are similar players, but they are both predominantly defensive minded. So bringing Forrest or Fraser on there when you're 2-0 down. If it was one each or Scotland were holding the lead, I bring like for like on. I see that, but down 2-0 at home and you're needing chasing a goal, I think Forrest or Fraser would have been a better option than Patterson, and that's what Steve Clark did. You did see it working, and Forrest a wee translate on, but you did see them get a lot more forward down the right hand side than what they did when O'Donnell was there. But I was talking to one of the boys earlier as well, and I feel sorry for O'Donnell. I think O'Donnell has to have a 9 or a 10 out of 10 performance for Scotland to get praised. I think he's one of the players. He's playing with Motherwell, probably the one of the lesser teams. He's got players involved in the squad. The eyes are always going to be on him. If he makes a slight mistake, everybody's going to be on top of him. Whereas Robertson makes a mistake, he's a Liverpool player, he's a captain, he'll not get as much backlash. I feel slightly sorry for him in that behalf, that he needs to perform to the maximum performance of his game for anybody to cut him slack. That's the only thing. But I did think he struggled the other day. But I don't think he was the only one that was struggled. But I think it's just a wee bit of a scapegoat at times as well, just because he plays with Motherwell as well, and it's a wee bit unfair. But you did see him struggling early on, and I think he could have been took off, not for his performance, but just to cut him a wee bit of slack as well, took off for Forrest earlier on.
Definitely. Ryan, the second goal, we can all agree it's probably the best goal we're going to see in the tournament for Patrik Schick, but what do we think of the goalkeeper? What do we think of Marshall? Is he out of position? Is he too far up? Is there something maybe goes on during that build-up that causes that? Because the way I'm looking at it is Marshall's too far up, and I think if he's even 10 yards back, I don't think Schick attempts that.
No, I agree with you, Scott. But for me, the first bit was, I just think because Jack Creme just scored a goal recently, I think he's top of the world. See, I've kind of said on my own podcast that I'm not saying he was really poor, but to me, it's the reason why Celtic are selling, in my opinion. I think decision making at the highest level, it kills you these days. You've seen it with the Celtic, Rangers and stuff in Europe and other teams at an international level. His decision making to shoot for me was wrong. He should have passed it to the side of the park or inside, and it wouldn't have happened. But then it's happened, and then obviously Marshall, as you says, his positioning was very poor. And I totally agree with you. If it's maybe 10 yards further back, the goal wouldn't have happened. But as much as we can complain about our side of it, it's a fantastic finish.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
For him to have that awareness and know how to do that, it's phenomenal. And the fact, I've seen his interview after it, I don't know if anybody's watched it, but he says, I knew that's what Marshall done. So that just shows you what did these guys actually do behind the scenes. It's not just training and eating healthy and all that. They do a lot of stuff that we don't see, and it just shows you how good these guys really are. And we don't, as Shank says, that you don't actually realise how maybe some good these Czech players really were, because of all the anticipation of Scotland first tournament in a long time, and the buzz is back, and realistically they're a solid international country who play in these tournaments. We don't. And I do agree with you when it comes to O'Donnell that he's maybe, again, it depends what formation you play, because you've all know with Scotland, we don't really know players to suit formations, and Clark's got to get a formation where it suits the players, because putting O'Donnell in that position doesn't suit him. And I do agree with you, Shanks, it's making him a bit of a scapegoat, because he's playing somewhere where at that level he's kind of getting found out, and it's down to the manager to know let him get found out and play him where I think he should be playing in, which is maybe a right back at a 4 and no as a wing back, because you see him going forward, he can't get forward as much as a Fraser or a Forrest, and I think maybe that was maybe a downfall in the first half to try and get a bit of creativity.
See, going into the game at Wembley on Friday, Max, how do we think Clark's going to make changes, and if so, where does he need to change?
I think Shea Adams will start, because when he came on at half time, he definitely showed an improvement up there. I think the thing with Ryan Christie is it's the same mistakes that Neil Lennon made as Celtic manager, playing him up front when they've got strikers on the bench, and we slaughtered Neil Lennon for that. So we need to say the same about Steve Clarke, that probably wasn't the right thing to do. So I'd like to see Adam start up top with Dykes, and the two of them hopefully will be able to start forming some sort of meaningful partnership, because they can link up together well when they actually try and when they're actually on the pitch together. So hopefully they can get something going. I think he'll keep the same shape, which is obviously you have the dilemma at right wing back again, whether you keep O'Donnell in there. I think he was always going to start O'Donnell against England because he'll be more defensive. But I don't know maybe if his performance puts that in jeopardy. I don't think he'll start Forrest or Fraser at right back, because obviously it would probably be too attacking against England. So maybe Patterson has a chance because he's actually natural in that position. So maybe put Patterson in for O'Donnell, and I'd have Adams in for Christie, and I'd probably keep the rest of the team as it was, because unless Tierney's back, of course, Tierney will get in, but over Cooper. But I'd probably keep the rest of the team as it was, because I think Armstrong, McGinn, and McTominay wasn't that great, but I don't think he's going to get dropped out. But I think McGinn and Armstrong were certainly good enough to keep their place.
I think there was a point in the game where, and kind of Souček first half for Czech Republic was quite quiet, but see second half there was something about him that changed, and I think it did nullify both McGinn and McTominay. I think McGinn, when he's playing deep, I think it's the McGinn's getting wasted. Obviously that might change at Wembley, because they now need to go to Wembley. Scotland now need to go to Wembley and open up. And does that allow England to tear through? I don't know. But it's a completely different mindset now going into Wembley than it would have been with a victory, Shankers.
Of course, I think when you see the group at the start, I think Czech Republic at Hampden was the perfect opening game, to be honest. What a chance to go and get 3 points, and if you get 3 points, you're almost going into the next two games with something to hold on to, if you know what I mean. But now, as you said, you need to go to Wembley, you need to play Croatia, and you need to almost go for it. And I don't think it really suits us for the opposition that we're playing against, because I think England will ring the changes, and when they're changing like for like, they're taking Mount out, put Grealish in, they're taking Sterling out, putting Rashford in, stuff like that. That's the kind of opposition we're up against, and I'm not saying I fear the worst at all. I really don't, because I don't think they were like overly. They were good on night there, but I don't think I was looking at it going. I mean, I'm nothing really to fear out of the other two games. But then when you see Scotland today and the mistakes at the back and stuff like that, England will be thinking they're there to be got it, and I'm fearful. But I see what Mark says. I think O'Donnell could still play as well, just for the defensive side. I know it's 3 centre backs and it's like a 3-5-2, but to be honest, it almost is 5 at the back with the wing backs, and especially when you're playing against somebody like England. I think there'll be 2 or 3 changes. I think Adams will play up top, possibly Patterson in for O'Donnell, maybe Fraser in for Christie, and Adams in for Dykes. Possibly, I think we need some legs at Wembley, like further up the pitch, or flick-ons and stuff like that. I think England's there to be got at the back, and I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. Scotland's got nothing to lose now. They're not expected to go and get 6 points for the next 2 games. So probably sometimes when you've not got as much pressure on you, sometimes you get the best out of players, and fingers crossed that's what happens.
Yeah. Ryan, obviously, well, now that obviously the first game in, it's a defeat with 2 more games left. It's going to be an uphill battle. Ryan, are we keeping the faith that that Scotland team can make it to the next round?
To be fair, after that performance, I'm very, very unsure now. I kind of got involved with the buzz, and we're maybe better than we were, but I think for me, I kind of wrote on my social media earlier that I think for me it's a reality check for us, that maybe some of the players who maybe are playing at a higher level maybe aren't as good as what we think they are. Like Shank says, that McGinn looked tired, and I wrote that down in my notes for Canone. I thought the last 20 minutes we looked shattered. It reminded me of Celtic last season. The last 20 minutes, flat on their bums, just totally lethargic. And when you need that wee gear, that's when your kind of top players should be coming through. And I just think that maybe the pressure again, maybe it didn't help. But as a Scottish fan, you've got to keep the faith. And I'm a bit more positive. I think we will go on and put a performance, but we're not good enough to beat England. I know they might not be a top English team, but as Shank just says, yeah, they can replace quality with quality. We might be replacing a decent quality player where, no disrespect, that Hibs are a Motherwell player, so it's very hard to gauge it. But I think we just need to go all out. I do agree with you says, do we go defensively and try and get them a counter-attack, or do we just go gung-ho? And for me, I would just go two up front and go for it. As Shank says, I'm nothing to lose. If we can beat 4-0, we beat 4-0. We just need to try and go for it. I'd rather get beat 4-0, try and win the game, than get beat 1-0 and just sit back.
I agree with that. Mate,
and totally. Try it. And I'd rather try and at least try something. But I think she's all agree that if we at least try and we get beat, you can go fair enough, hold your hands up.
Yeah.
But if you don't try and you're thinking, oh, we only had one corner and one goal, then Steve Clark's going to get it. He didn't try to win the game. So I've got faith, but I'm optimistic that it's going to be a very, very hard task.
Mm-hmm. Max, have we got a prediction for Friday night before we move on to the other two games?
I'm gonna go with a draw, because if we won the day, I'd probably go all out for a win. But I'm gonna say we'll keep it tight early on, and we'll sneak a 1-1.
We'll go over the Scotland chat and we'll move on to the other two games in that happened today. Poland 1, Slovakia 2. Shankler's big win for Slovakia. Obviously, Szczesny with the own goal, and then Skriniar with a header, and Linetti scored for Poland after a Kishovic red card. Slovakia done well enough to win the game, didn't they?
Aye, we spoke last night, and it says probably the other three teams in the group results against Spain will be irrelevant. It'll be the best results against all the rest of the teams, and now after seeing Spain's result, we'll go on and talk about that. But I think this group's just blown wide open now, and Slovakia getting 3 points. They're top of the group now. They've got something to hold on to. They don't need to go and win their next two games. They would love to, but they've got something to hold on to now. And even if they go and nick a draw, 4 points is probably going to be enough to see you through, even if it's in third place. So they'll be happy with that. I think Poland would do 10 men at 1-1 kind of swings the game in Slovakia's favour, and that's the way it's ended it. But I was actually a wee bit surprised with that result. I thought Poland would be a bit better, to be honest.
Right. Max, did behind the red card change the game, and how impressed were you with the way Slovakia set up to win the game after the red card?
Yeah, I mean, I think Slovakia were the better team in the first half. They were deserved to go in front. The second half, Poland scored and they came back in it and they looked on top. And then it changed on that red card again, like you say. I was impressed by Slovakia, but on the Polish side, I think Lewandowski is obviously a world-class striker, but he can't carry that team on his back, and I didn't see an awful lot of anything else in that team, really. I think they miss, they've got two other strikers who are quite good that play up top with them, normally Piatek and Milik.
Yeah.
And both of them were obviously injured, so I think he was trying to do a bit on all of his own there, and it wasn't working out for them. So we'll see what happens, but I think in terms of the group, I think, the Spain result was obviously not an expected one. I thought they were, especially the way they started, or the possession they had, that they were going to get a goal. So it's a wide open group, but I still think Spain will win the group. But who goes through the other two teams? I mean, it's pretty wide open. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the other games.
Yeah. Ryan, what was your thoughts on the Slovakia win over Poland?
I thought Slovakia were tactically very good. They kind of set their stall right away, and I thought they'd done basically like maybe Scotland should have done. They played the tournament football. They didn't play the occasion. They got their tactics spot on, and I agree with what Max says. I know they were missing two other kind of main players, but you can't have a guy like Lewandowski's quality and no feed him balls, because he's just a sitting duck and doing nothing, and he's not the sort of guy that's just going to do doggies for 90 minutes. He needs the ball at his feet to score goals. That's what he's done all season. But I wasn't shocked with I wasn't shocked with the result, but I was maybe shocked with how lacklustre Poland were. Again, as Shank says, that Slovakia get something to hold on to now. So that kind of wide open the group. It's going to be a really interesting look into that group, especially with that performance with Sweden, with Spain. So I would say Slovakia done really well, and it's maybe something other teams can look at, how to play the tournament and how to play tactically against maybe teams who they shouldn't be beaten, but they can beat them by using tactics and a bit of know-how.
Yeah. We'll move on to the other game in Group E. Obviously, Slovakia now hold the advantage after Spain and Sweden's 0-0 draw. Max, it wasn't a classic that we saw basically 24 hours ago, but I think there was a lot of takeaways to take from both teams. I think Spain, as always, can play some magnificent football, but Sweden were digging deep and getting chances. It's both teams could easily progress from this and build on that point.
Yeah, it was interesting because obviously Spain had 80% possession, but Sweden probably had the two best chances in the match. I mean, that Isak looked really, really impressive.
Yeah.
And that chance he set up for Berg, who fluffed it. That was a sitter. I can't believe
he missed that.
No. But Spain as well, I mean, they're still trying to play the tiki-taka football, and I can understand why, because it's obviously in their DNA, the Spanish way of playing and stuff, but I don't necessarily think they've got the players to do that anymore, and they should maybe try and play a bit more to their strength. So you've got maybe like Torres and Olmo coming in, maybe try and play with a bit more intensity and pace and a bit more direct maybe at times. And I think when they did go direct on a couple of occasions, that's probably when they created their chances. And a lot of the time they were just playing sort of sideways passes and halfway through the opposition half, and it wasn't really leading to anything. So I think maybe if they work on that, then they've got a good chance of turning things around.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with everything you've said there. Ryan, what was your thoughts on the Spain-Sweden game?
I kind of echo what Max just says there. I think that I still think Spain, I think they missed a cutting edge. I think if they get a cutting edge, they'll be a top team again. They're just missing Morata. For me, he's a very good striker, but I think at that level now, I don't think he's good at it anymore. I think if they had somebody like a Raul back in the days, I think they'd have scored 3 or 4 on it. I do agree with Max, but it does frustrate you when teams just play this tappy stuff. You kind of like get the ball in the box, do something, because that's how you win football games. There's only so much Barcelona football you can play. But Sweden are very hard to break down, aren't they? They're very hard to break down.
Right.
They're not really star quality, but as a group, my unit, they're very, very hard to break down.
Yeah, definitely. Shankers, what was your thoughts on Spain, Sweden, and do you see both teams progressing out of this group?
I think both teams will progress at the group. I think this will be one of the groups where 3 of them go through. Spain, it's the boys said, dominated the ball. As Ryan just said, they're no cutting edge. There's no point in having 80% possession if you've not got somebody that can put the ball in the net when you get the chances. It's not as if they had 80% and they were just playing it side to side. They never had done. They did have chances. They just when they got up there, they just not got somebody to put it in the back of the net. Morata is not really one of the 30, 35 goals a season strikers anymore. The amount of top teams he's played with, and I don't know what his goals to game ratio or whatever it is, but I don't think he's one of the players that goes and scores you 25, 30 goals, or even in this tournament, 5, 6 goals. It's hard. Sweden, as Ryan says, they're a bit old school, 4-4-2, 2 back to 4, shifts side to side. They all work for each other. They've all got their own individual jobs, and they did have probably the best chance of the game with Marcus Berg, cut back open net. I honestly don't know what he's doing. It's probably harder to do what he done than put it in the back of the net. But other than that, I'm not saying I enjoyed the game. I'm not saying it was a great game, but for a 0-0, which there was plenty of chances, kind of end-to-end stuff. But I think Spain will have enough to go through. When you look to the bench and what they're bringing off compared to what they had years ago, it is night and day. I mean, Gerard Moreno, he's a good player and he's done really well for Villarreal this year. But oh my God, sorry, Messi's just scored a screamer. Sorry, Gerard Moreno and players like that coming off the bench. It's no like David Villa, Torres, even Pedro to a certain extent. it's just no the same quality. But I still think they've got enough to go kind of quarterfinals, even semis at a push.
No, definitely. I think it's been a weird day. We've not seen the most classic games of football. I think we're all a bit deflated as we're on here. It's understandable. But we've 2 games tomorrow. Group F, the group of death, gets underway. Hungary versus Portugal, the 2016 winners and defending champions, get their tournament started. Hungary does get a draw against Portugal 5 years ago. Max, what's your thinking for tomorrow's opening game as Portugal get a tournament?
E3 the last game, was it not? And
yeah, it was a thriller, wasn't it?
That like tomorrow, but I think Portugal will probably win the game tomorrow. I think weirdly, even though they won Euro 2016, I actually think their squad's a lot stronger now than the last one. They've got like João Felix and Jota, and they never had players like that. I was going to say 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if Ronaldo's on his top form as well, because if he is, then he's obviously a different gravy for them. So I think Portugal will win. I don't think Hungary will maybe be the whipping boys that everybody expects them to be. I don't think they'll win any games, but I think they'll be tough. They'll be tough to break down, and I don't think they'll suffer any humiliations. So I would maybe go with maybe 2-0, 3-1 Portugal.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see Portugal winning comfortably. I'm going 2-0. Bruno Fernandes, and I think Ronaldo will score as well. Ryan, what are we thinking for tomorrow? Hungary, Portugal?
Kind of what Max echoed about Ronaldo. As much as Fernandes is still, he's superb for Man U and stuff. For me, if Ronaldo turns up to his game, and he always does at these big tournaments, no matter what age he is, Portugal could win it just because it's him. He's a leader, and that last competition, even though he was struggling, just everything about him. I know it's about him, right? I know he's individually, but he's a pure winner, man, and that is, it's very fragrant in any team. If you get winners in your team, it just passes through your full team, and if he starts really well, it only bodes well for Portugal in the tournament. I think they'll win the game. I'm not saying they'll humiliate Hungary, but I think they might have most of the playing. I think they might have a lot of chances. They might only score 2 or 3, but I think they'll win the game comfortably, maybe 2-3-0.
Shankers, what we're thinking?
Obviously we spoke in the previous show about Portugal. When you look through their team, they've got quality all the way through their team. And I honestly didn't realise that it was as good a squad as what it's been. And I was going to say they'll not have a better chance to win it, but obviously they won the last one when this squad wasn't with the squad, then it probably wasn't as strong as this one. So who says they kind of go and win it again with Ronaldo, Jota, Bernardo Silva, William Carvalho, Renato Sanchez, Bruno Fernandes. I mean, that's 6 names that
some quality names.
It is probably one of the best kind of, I'm going to say squads, but probably the kind of main 11, probably one of the best in the tournament. So who says they kind of go deep into the competition as well? It's a tough group. Another one of the ones where you're looking at the three kind of stronger teams progressing out of this group, and I think it'll be comfortable for them tomorrow. Best they could hope for is probably a win and maybe a draw in another game, and kind of stands them in good stead. I'm just hoping for a good game, to be honest. There's only really been one kind of decent game for me, the Netherlands-Ukraine one. So,
the other game in the group is obviously France and Germany, world champions against the 3-time European champions. Ryan, this could be either one of the games of the tournament, or it could be a board draw. It could be one of those games. We honestly don't know how this could go, but 2 really good teams who are probably going to be the 2 of the most fancied teams in the tournament.
I like you says about it could be a ball fest, like, and down south, they've Man United and Man City, or what again, the build up, and then it's a bit of a whimper. So I do think I've still not put money in France yet. I'm just waiting to see how the competition goes. But if I was if I had a lot of dough, I think I'd be putting on France to win it. I just think they've got strength and depth. They've got everything. Giroud, Benzema, Griezmann. That front three is phenomenal. As soon as I seen Benzema was back, and I was like, that's very hard to beat. And they've got 2 or 3 players for every position. It's just Germany, you can't really them out in these competitions because they might start sticky, but most of the time, apart from the last World Cup, they tend to come stronger at the end of the tournament. So, but I genuinely believe this could be the game that lights up the tournament and people kind of stand up and go, actually, I want to start watching it, because I think maybe some people are still, because there's no a lot of crowds and it's just, you can't really go to pubs and stuff. I think people are a bit deflated with it. But I think if this game sparks into life, it could be making the tournament and it could actually get more people involved. But I think France might edge it. I'll say 2-0.
2-0 France. Big call. Max, what are we thinking for the game tomorrow between France and Germany?
I'm just hoping for a really good game, to be honest. I mean, I think the two teams will match up pretty good against each other. They both play sort of an exciting brand of football, and they've both got really exciting players on the pitch. So you've got likes of Mbappe for France and Gnabry for Germany, who could just run all day and create loads of problems for the opposition defences. So I'm expecting a fast-paced tempo game. I think it'll be a score draw if I'm being honest. But if I was to favour one team, it would definitely be France. I just think they've got a bit more end product about them, with especially now with Benzema back in the squad. But Germany have got Müller back as well, so he's kind of on the flip side, he'll be an experienced head to bring back, who also knows where the back of the net is. And they have Havertz just scored in the Champions League final too, so it's an interesting game. I'm going to say 2-2. I think it'll be a score draw, and I hope it is the game of the tournament so far, and I think it might be.
Yeah, I'm going to
0-0 now, but
it could be either one. But I think I'm going to go for a score draw as well. I think these are two actually evenly matched teams. I do think Germany are going into this after the World Cup. Obviously, they've been a bit under the radar, but you can't even like Germany in a major tournament. And as you say, they've got that depth in Gnabry, Sané, Müller, as you say, Havertz is there, Kimmich, I think, is one of the most versatile players in the world. I just think that they've just got as much depth as France, I think. But Shankers, what we're thinking for tomorrow, France, Germany, you look forward to it?
I was laughing with Alison. It's her wedding anniversary tomorrow, and I was like, we need to book dinner kind of early on, because France, Germany's at 8 o'clock. Don't be booking anywhere too far away for the house, so as we can get back for that. So hopefully it's a cracker. Going on the it could be hyped up to be boring. I don't think any of these teams are the kind of teams that can set up for that. I think they've got too much quality in both sides for it to be a bore fest, to be honest. I think with Mbappe, Griezmann, Benzema, then you've got Müller, Gnabry, Werner, Havertz. There's too much quality for it to be 0-0, surely. Anyway, I fancy France for the tournament, so I think they'll win, but it will be close. I'm gonna go for a classic 3-2. I'm going for 3-2 France. Hopefully.
Very good. It's been another interesting day at the Euros, and we're obviously going to have another interesting day tomorrow. But that will do us for this episode. I just want to thank Shankers as always for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
No worries, Scott. Anytime.
Ryan, it's been a pleasure to welcome you onto the show. Thank you for joining us.
Anytime, mate. Thanks a lot for your time, lads. Thank you.
Brilliant. Max, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on.
No bother, man. Cheers for having me on. It's great to be here.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for listening, everyone. We'll be back with another show tomorrow night as we recap all the action that took place on Tuesday. Please subscribe to us on YouTube and on our podcast channels, and follow SM Media on all our social media channels for more news during the European Championships. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.